For the past 3 months, we've been showcasing different green tech innovations, different technology. I've been learning so much. I know when I started this, I didn't know what to expect, but I've learned so many things, seen so many fascinating things I never knew existed. And today's episode is another of those. Today's guest is Alice Chun. She's the CEO of Solight Design. She makes lovely solar lights. I was just looking at the two samples she showed to us today. So she's going to tell us her story, how she got started, how useful these products are, and I would say also how practical and lovely they are too. And yeah, we'll just have a short discussion, and I hope you enjoy it. So welcome to GreenTech Pulse, Alice.
Hi, Peter. Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to have this discussion and talk about sustainability and solar technology in particular, because I think that the sun is an amazing source of energy. It gives us something like 700 trillion gigawatts of energy every day, and that is enough to power a light bulb for 7 billion people in the world, and that light bulb would be shining bright their entire lifetime. That's the amount of energy that comes from the sun every day. And I invented this little solar light. It's called the SolarPuff, and it has a solar panel, and it's a cube. It's origami. It twists and opens up and into a cube, and this one actually has 6 different colors. What we've been doing is also using the different colors for PTSD therapy in children in war zones. So this one's another one, which is a much larger solar panel. You need to have a larger solar panel so that you can harness enough energy from the sun in a certain amount of time to charge a battery that can charge, that's big enough to charge your phone. And this one also flat packs and pops open into a cube with origami. I'm Korean, and I had a mom that taught me how to do origami, which is the art of folding paper. And it is geometry, it's art, imagination, and also mathematics. But this folding technology, origami, is critical for all of our products because we want to make it easy for people to carry and transport our solar products and relieve everyone on shipping costs. So I was a former professor in architecture at Columbia University, and my son was born with asthma. And because of pollution and climate change, especially in urban areas like New York, where I live, the pollution in the air comes from buildings, which is 75% of the carbon emissions come from buildings because of the cooling and heating and lighting and computers. And so basically, all of that pollution is affecting the health of our planet and our children, and including my son. And so made a decision to only research and find innovation with solar energy. And early on, I used to sew solar panels with fabric to get the whole idea of, thinner energy with something thin. And then when I was teaching at Columbia University, the Haiti earthquake happened. And that's when we realized that 2.6 billion people in the world have no access to electricity, and they're using kerosene to light their world at night. It's very dangerous. Millions of children die from the bad smoke and inhalation, the toxic smoke from kerosene. And then even in regions where, like Haiti, even when there is a power grid, and it's only, maybe 10% electrified, that's very unreliable. Even when there is a grid, there's many, many brownouts and blackouts all the time. And I researched every solar light on the market. They were all heavy, made out of hard, heavy plastic and very utilitarian looking. And as a designer and as an architect, I also believe that design matters and that beauty, wonder, and awe is just as important as utility. And so I designed with origami this idea of flat packing to save on space and also save on weight with these products. And so since my inception in 2015, we created a Kickstarter and we raised $500,000 in 30 days. And that's what helped start our company up. And since then, our mission has been to send light to regions that are underserved, are in war zones, and we've been able to help over 1 million people worldwide. If we give a light to, let's say, in Puerto Rico, when the hurricane hit, there were 3 million people without power, and we were able to get over 100,000 lights to Puerto Rico to help with our nonprofit partners. And if you give one light to a family, it's actually impacting at least 5 people because most homes have at least five in family members living under one roof. And sometimes it's even more than that. So, um, that's how we figure the impact with our solar lights when we give it to a family. And then since then, we've been able to help in regions like Ukraine, Turkey, and actually early on in 2015, I took a trip to Nigeria. I went to Makoko, which is the largest floating slum in sub-Saharan Africa, is in Makoko in Lagos, Nigeria. And I went to speak to the students in architecture at the University of Lagos. And I said, I want to take my prototype of the solar light that I had and bring it into Makoko. And the students were like, no, don't go into Makoko. It's too dangerous. And I said, well, I'm going to go anyway, and you can come with me. And so for the first time, these students who live in Lagos went for the first time into Makoko with me. And we went on a boat and we met with some of the tribal chiefs there. And there is an incredible need. Our products, they float, they're waterproof, um, they're great for fishermen. There's a lot of fishing that was happening in Lagos, and many, economies are reliant on the fishing, and same thing in Haiti. And so these are really, really beneficial for helping economic growth and also saving money because many regions where underserved communities don't have electricity, they're paying up to 30% of their income on kerosene every day. And so, and like in Haiti, almost $1 on just one candle, which only lasts one night, right? So my thought was if we can save that money, you can use that money for food, for clothing, for education, and the sun can power your light. Um, and you can save so much money just by that. And so that's why I started my company, Solight Design, so that we could help make lives better. And then in the United States and Europe, we sell our products like this also to the camping industry, people who go hiking, who have gardens, who love the outdoors. They love our products for that. And then kids love our products to learn about solar energy. And then the other thing recently also because of climate change, we have a 60% increase in power outages in the United States alone. So more and more natural disasters like the fires that are happening in California right now, hurricanes that hit the East Coast this past year, millions of people were out of power because of these natural disasters that are increasing. And so these are perfect for homes that are experiencing any of these issues. Um, they're a lot safer than candles. They're easy to hold and take around, especially for elderly. Um, but it's been an incredible journey. And I don't want to over talk because I want you to ask questions. So, um, give, you know, I want to give you a chance to talk. So I'll let you ask questions now.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's actually lovely, and the products actually really look good because, like you mentioned earlier, the solar lights generally in the markets are big, heavy, and ugly. I have a couple of them around my house, and I think fun fact too, my house is solar, so the lights we have here is currently it's solar powered. So when you talked about the sun being enough for all of us, I really understood. Yeah, because I just really have just a few solar panels here, my inverter, my battery. I think for like 3 years, I haven't spent anything on petroleum or anything, and it's quiet and lovely. Yeah. Yeah. So now for these lights, they look really small. The panels look really small. So when they are fully charged, let's say the small one, the large one, how long do they last before they need to be charged
Well,
again?
the large one for lighting, it will last 300 hours of light because the battery is 4,000 milliamps and you can also charge your phone. So it's a bigger battery, a bigger solar panel. And I did so many testing with solar phone chargers. And if it's a solar phone charger, most of the time the battery is smaller. And actually, the solar panel is small, like the size of, a phone, an iPhone. And if you only have that small area, you can only gain enough power from the sun. It takes longer, the smaller area you have for getting the energy of the sun. So many of those will take 2 weeks for that battery to charge. So that's why I designed this with a larger surface area for collecting the sun's energy, and this will power the battery. You can charge it in a day, in 10 hours, versus waiting day after day to charge the battery fully. So, one time I was in Haiti in disaster relief, and there were supplies from different organizations, and they were giving cheap solar panels with a phone charging. And the person that I was with, he used it and he said it was taking so long for his phone to charge. And then he realized that it was sucking the energy from his phone. Like it wasn't charging his phone, it was depleting his phone. And then I gave him mine and it charged, twice as fast. It did charge his phone. So, so I believe, we have to do things that have integrity and actually work. There's a lot of cheap products out there that, people throw away and it goes into the waste zone. And we have to make sure that people are receiving quality goods. I haven't been back to Nigeria since, but that's always been on my bucket list to go back and give light to the people that I met in Makoko. But it's very difficult to get there. And anyway, there's a lot of issues. But in any case, I think one of the things that happened on my journey is after the Haiti earthquake, I went down there and I was able to meet President Clinton and the president of Haiti, and I showed them a very small prototype, which was glued and duct taped together. And in walks President Clinton and President Martelli, and I showed them the light, and they loved it, and they thought it was great. And Bill Clinton was like, "Come over here, come everybody, come look at this light." And then fast forward 7 years after that, we were able to help Puerto Rico after the Hurricane Maria hit. And I was able to give I was getting a small award for helping Puerto Rico. And I met Hillary Clinton backstage. And I told her the story of how I personally went to Dominica to deliver lights to children in schools. Many of the schools had their roofs ripped off and they were in tents. And so I brought lights in my luggage and went down there and gave them out to several schools. And the story that I share with the children is that the sun is the most powerful source of energy that comes to the earth every day. But the light of your heart and the light of your mind is even more powerful than the sun. And that if you keep fighting with that light, don't fight with your fists, but fight with the light in your heart and your mind. There's nothing you can't achieve, and your ambitions and dreams will come true. And that this solar light is something that you can take, and it gains its energy from the sun. And now that you have this light, you're a light warrior. And light warriors fight with that light inside your heart. And this gains, the sun must kiss its face every day to gain its energy so that you can use this light for studying and your homework and your chores at night so your dreams and ambitions can grow. And so this is something that's dear to me, is being able to help children all over the world, especially in regions that don't get a lot of aid or are underserved. So um, that's what keeps me going. But unfortunately, some things happen, like what's happening with the government right now since Trump got into power. I'm very frightened of what's going to happen with our company this year because of what the government has done.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's the story is really fascinating, and thinking of the amount of lives the product has impacted, and I think looking at the how innovative the product is, how different it is, I don't think it will really be affected by much. Yeah, there might be a little impact, but it's something. This is something that I would love to have. This is something that I think anyone who sees it would love to have, and I think that brings my next question, because I'm actually looking at it, and it looks really light. And then you mentioned that it has a 4000 mAh battery. And like I have a power pack right here, about I think 5000 mAh, and it's really big and heavy. So now you're able to put a light, put probably a controller, put a solar panel, and put a 4000 mAh battery in that really small pack. So, what were the technological challenges you encountered getting to this point, making this work? Because the solar panels I know actually look thicker and heavier than what you have there. So, how did you get here?
You're right. There's been a lot of improvements in solar technology and solar panels throughout the years, especially in the past couple of decades. Solar panels have become more efficient, and also there's different types. There's silicone and crystalline solar panels. We use silicone. It tends to be more efficient, but it kind of goes back and forth between the two of what is more efficient. We put together a solar circuit which encompasses, the solar panel, and then behind the solar panel is a lithium ion battery, a circuit with LEDs, and then also um, a controller, diffuser. All of our products are actually manufactured in China. We try to manufacture in the US, but the cost came back 5 times more expensive. And so it just wasn't feasible to do it that way. We tried to source to five, I think it was, we tried 5 different ways to get costs for what it would take to manufacture in the US, and we just couldn't do it. Because the other thing that's important to us is that our products need to be affordable. And we've gotten the cost down, but if we had more revenue orders, we could try to even force the cost down even more. But we're a small company, we're working to do good, and we're trying as hard as we can to make a difference.
Yeah. Okay, so now looking at the different ways you've seen people use the solar puff. I know you mentioned Makoko. I think I've heard of it. I've never been there, but I know it's like a floating community. You have people on canoes, you have houses on canoes, you have the fishermen and everything. You mentioned Haiti, you mentioned Puerto Rico, different places here where you've had you've distributed this light. So, what are the most surprising ways you've seen people use these solar puffs?
Um, well, early, actually, this was very early on, and it was when we first started to do research in human settlements and tent camps. What I realized very early on, which was surprising, is that assault towards women and young girls in tent camps at night were decreased if they had solar lights. Because when they're going to the bathroom at night, it's pitch black dark and they get attacked on their way to the bathroom if they're just walking home at night. And I know that in poorly lit streets, if a woman is walking from a bus stop back home, they could get assaulted in the dark. But if you have light, you can actually see the person that's attacking you and say, I know who you are, and you can, I we can arrest you, whatever. But if it's completely dark, you don't know who's attacking you. So that was like a 30% decrease in sexual assault toward women the next day at the healthcare center, which I thought was surprising to me, how big of a deal it is for deterring assault. Um, One of the other things that I thought was strange and funny was somebody that had their printer broken, because this is flat and thin. They could stick it inside their printer to see what was going on and take out a piece of paper from their printer to fix their printer. And then other other ways that I was surprised was in South Africa, there was a distributor that was testing our products, and he used our lights as an anchor light. So he on the boat he attached the solar puff to the anchor and threw it in the water, and you could see where the anchor was at night. And then he also dragged the solar lights behind the boat in the water, so you could see the lights, going behind the boat. That was another unique, and it was a testament to the durability of our solar lights. And then also, um, yeah, the other thing that was surprising to me was the colors, the different colors. After Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, I was at a conference, and a healthcare worker came up to me and said, "You are the one that gave us those colored lights, and we are using them for PTSD therapy in our children, because the children all have trauma after the hurricane, and all children are very scared of the dark and they couldn't sleep at night. And so they used the different colors for games and also night lights for the children. It was easier for them to fall asleep with this a colored light rather than the bright, fluorescent bright white lights that are actually bad for your eyes if you have the too bright and too blue spectrum lights. And warm colors are better for your eyes and also for mood enhancement. So after I learned that, and then I learned about the children in Ukraine who are being bombed by the Russians. The power stations were being bombed, and all the children's hospitals were affected, and the children had PTSD. So I took my solar lights in my luggage and I went into Ukraine to deliver lights to children in hospitals there.
So I think that's those are actually really unexpected uses. PTSD, therapy, reduction of assaults. The anchor too was actually this thing, and I think when we talk about the reduction of assaults, I think I've realized that most times where you provide lights, crime generally reduces, especially with what you said, because if anybody's being attacked or anything, they're able to identify, they're able to recognize who is coming, and that is a deterrent to anybody who wants to attack lights. So I think,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
exactly. So now looking at, I always ask this question for people who have physical products, especially probably portable, handy physical products like this. Do you have any issues with counterfeits, with knockoffs, or these things with your products?
Yeah, we do. And we try to get ahead of the game by changing and updating and making our products better. But the other thing is, ours, I have a patent on ours. Ours is the only one where it expands and you don't have to blow it up. There's some other ones where you have to blow it up with your mouth and you have to blow into it, and that's very unhygienic and spreads germs. And ours is the only one where it uses origami, and so there's a little hole where it brings in air and expands and contracts. You can hear the air kind of going in and out, but and that helps it stay a cube. And then if you twist it, it packs flat, and you can hear the air going out, but you don't have to push or you don't have to use your mouth, which is important to me because in a disaster situation it's unsanitary. And with things like Ebola, cholera, there's so many, even E. coli, there's so many germs that you could prevent from spreading by eliminating the need to put your mouth on something.
Okay, so now I think that's interesting. So now looking at you've been doing this since 2015, so that's about 10 years of Solight, and I think there are a lot of people who might want to build solutions. Maybe you have the design experience, you have the origami experience, you mix them to make this. Some people might have different types of experience, and they want to build things for the sustainable solutions for real world problems. So, what advice would you give to them, especially from your 10 years of doing this?
If you want to start a new company, I think the best way to start would be to think about how you can help people. That if there's a problem, I always, when I used to teach, I used to say that um, in the mother of invention is necessity, but the daughter of invention is curiosity. And so have curiosity and also think about things that are out there that are solutions, but they're not working. Think about how you can make it better to help solve a problem. And usually there'll be a market for that, but you have to do your research. And I think that's also extremely important, is do research, research, research as much as you can about about the field that you want to go into and see how you can improve something to make things better. And also, if it's something passionate that you're thinking about, I always told my students that um, if you work on something and you feel like um, you wake up in the morning and it's the first thing that you think about, and it's something that um, you feel has a purpose, that purpose is what's going to drive you because it's so competitive and so hard. It's very, very hard to start a new company. It's very hard to get a patent for an invention. It's a long process. And if you don't have that passion, most people will give up. And so you need that perseverance as much as possible. And the way that you get perseverance is to have that passion.
Okay, so you have the passion, be curious, and yeah, so I think that those are really good points, good points. So now for Solight Design, what should people watching, what's next for Solight Design? And for listeners, for people watching this episode and they want to reach out to you, they want to learn more about Solight Design and what you're up to too, how can they reach you?
Well, if you want to reach us, just go to our website, solight-design.com, SOLIGHT hyphen design.com. And we have all of our products there. We also have a Give a Light page where our customers can donate a light to give to one of our missions. Um, we have a number of missions right now, which is the fires in California right now. Ukraine is still in a war zone, and it's worse now than it was last year in terms of the bombings from the Russians. We even have we send light to American Navajo Indians, children of the Navajo tribe that live in Utah, who are very marginalized. I don't know if you know this, but American Indians were put on reservations, and many of the reservations are maybe 12-hour drive to a city. So they're very isolated. And I went up there to speak to a summer program of middle school kids, and they lived on these reservations. Some of them, 60% don't have running water or electricity. And then we also um, have a number of other missions that come up depending on the natural disaster that happened. We did send light to the East Coast where Hurricane Helen hit North Carolina, um, but it's um, fortunate that we are able to help whenever we can. We're a small company, but we try to do our best and to do the right thing when the time is needed. And so that's how people can reach us. And um, we are thinking that we need to develop another product, one of which has to do with the PTSD therapy and trauma, because there isn't a lot of scientific data on how LED lights are being used for depression, for bipolar disorder, for non-seasonal depression. There's a lot more happening in terms of light therapy for depression, but it's not as rampant as it is for the beauty industry. There's a lot of LED lights being used in the beauty industry, but and it's shown effective. But we believe that we'd like to uh, we're working with Harvard University and also Parsons to develop and do a study for how light can help with depression and trauma, and mental health recovery. Um, and then also hoping to develop another product to um, disseminate next year which is another type of light that is larger and also charges phones and even a computer.
Wow. Wow. So I think there is a lot more to look out for from Solight Design. So visit Solight Design, solight-design.com. If you're not buying, give a light to any of the missions and watch out for their new products. So thank you so much, Alice, for coming on GreenTech Pulse.
Thank you, Peter. It was wonderful to speak to you today. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And for the listeners, I hope you were inspired by this story. I hope you learned something new. I hope you've seen a new product and probably you've seen a product that you can give to anywhere in need that needs, probably is facing a natural disaster or is probably has no amenities or something. So if you enjoy this episode, share it with someone else who enjoy it also. Go through our older episodes. I'll wait for next week for the brand new episode. Thank you and bye for now.